Good morning. Are we live? Are we live? I don't see it yet. Does it say live?
We are live.
I think it says live. I think it finally says live. Okay, on this end it says not live, but on that end it might be live. Okay, this is Tara Lee Live, and we are live, and I am live coming with you from my cannabis cave, shall we call it. We are going to have an amazing sesh this morning. Drake, how are you today?
I'm doing awesome. Finally starting to get a couple hours of sleep every now and then, dealing with this little puppy, but it's been fantastic. And that on top of just all this spring prep and all these different solutions we've been making and getting ready for the season, it's been kind of one of those juggling acts for sure, but it's good. And I'm ready to have some dabs and talk a little bit about what we've been doing and see who tunes in this morning for a nice early enough morning sesh.
Yes. Hello. Welcome, everyone. If you are out there and you're going to be tuning in with us live today, make sure you have it up on live chat and not top chat so that you will be able to follow along and not miss anybody's comments. So hello, everyone. I see Ja out there. How are you, Ja? I haven't seen you for a while. I hope you're awesome. Brett, you made it for live. Yes. How are you, Brett? Wonderful. I'm so glad you're here with us today. And if you're not able to be with us here live, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell so you can be here with us live next time. Hopefully Instagram will get those links out, or YouTube will get those links out to you eventually. But I wanted to throw something out real quick here this morning. We are getting a Discord channel going, and we're going to be able to have you guys all link in on that Discord channel. It's going to be amazing, because we will actually be able to show the links in there, and you guys will actually know when we go live, and you won't miss it, because can't always count on YouTube sometimes. So how are you all doing? I hope you're having a fabulous Saturday morning out there. We're wishing you for the peace and love and happiness and good vibes. So let's have a dab with everybody. Drake, are you ready? What are you loading up on? What's everybody smoking on?
I'm ready. My Wi-Fi, not so much. It's already cut out a couple times, so we'll see. But I vaguely overheard you bringing up the Discord, which is fantastic. And I snuck a little bit of some peyote cookies on here, and I'm gonna mix it up with something else. I'm just not sure what yet, so we'll figure it out. I think we'll double down the cookies. We'll go peyote cookies and East cookies all in one.
Well, there you go. Cookie. Have some cookies. What's everybody else got out there? What are we doing? Cheers. Everybody's saying hello to one another. I love that, how y'all come in and say hi to one another in the house.
Cam picked it out first, but this East cookies has just this slight, like kind of nuking rotten fruit profile that sneaks through on it, depending the temperature you hit it at. And I noticed that for the first time yesterday. So we'll see how it goes in unison with the peyote cookies, which is more of just that kind of cookie standard, interesting funk it's got.
I'm going to go in on this banner cake for me today. Looks yummy, and I'm ready to hit it.
Oh, look at that. Spent all that time setting up the microphone, and I was still on the computer anyways.
Ah!
Oh, you never know.
Cheers, everyone. Dab time.
Yeah, my turn. What's everyone else popping in on? What do you got? What are you smoking? It's going to be a little heavy for the morning, I can tell, but that's all right. Then after this, I've got a drying room I've been working on the last couple of days. Just took a 3x3 tent down and polyed up a spot essentially with the Panda film. That's now more like 6x6. Got a little more room, so I'm doing the trials with an AC in there to see where we can get for temperatures. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, Dab. Good to see you. Lobster, how are you? Lobster's got Dab and strawberry burst. Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
I've got a little bit of strawberry starburst flour left. Well, I didn't do the plant justice in the room.
Okay, we got an early question coming in. No problem. We love questions. No problem. Especially if we can answer the questions.
23.
So Dan has a question in chat. He says, I've been saving my seeded bud to make hash, but I'm questioning whether to make hash or press the sift. What do you all think? So let's talk about what the options are. I would like to talk about. Let's talk about what the options are. So
I'd say hash.
when you're going to be pressing sift, let's start with the sift. So are we talking like dry sift? I assume is what he's going to be talking, dry sift.
Yeah, like tumbling it, doing a bounce.
So no matter what you do, even on screens, as of right now, I have screens and I've cleaned up screens and I've even pressed through the screens. It's still dark. It's still, you don't get that pretty color. If you're looking for that color, you're going to be disappointed. That's my opinion. So then I would have to say wash it. But are you trying to save the seeds? Now, if you're trying to save the seeds, you know, maybe you can sort those out first and not get them wet. Because if you get them wet while you're trying to hash it, the seeds are going to be no good, correct? Drake, where are you at on this?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, I definitely see a lot of the hash producing friends that have ran seed material and just tossed it out, have all sorts of volunteers coming up. But I think, yeah, if you're going to be washing all the seeds and everything, you pretty well need to make some sort of use of them right away. And even then, it's that's probably not the best seed soaking solution or technique that we could work with for germinating. But that is a way that you could use them right away. Bouncing them, doing some sort of a screen, be it just like a literal window screen, or if you've got some sifting screens or whatever, like you're talking, get some sift out, get the seeds separated. And I mean, there's nothing stopping you from still running that material. We've spoken about that a little bit as well. You can definitely run even, I mean, within reason up to farmer's grade hash. Obviously, you got to be careful of chunks and clogging your material. But if you got a whole bunch of really fine powder, it's gonna freeze and separate in the same manner. So you can clean it up a little bit there as well. But as Sarah's mentioning, generally the rule of thumb is when you're doing the dry sifting and then pressing any of that cured heads and that kind of resin, it's going to be a little bit darker. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be any negligible quality. It's just not going to be as light and a little bit planty. I find I've yet to had a really solid sift that didn't come off too planty that was pressed, because generally if you're pressing it, it's because it wasn't full melt. If it wasn't full melt, it's because there's a bunch of fucking plant fats and chlorophyll and stuff still remaining, not necessarily a bunch, but enough for the connoisseur to pick it out a little bit. So either way, you've got a few options for sure. But there you go. That's kind of my take on it. Tara's take.
Okay. So Dan says his reply is it's dry sift and it's de-seeded. He usually just uses some heat and pressure to make hash, but kind of interested in rosin, but no idea what I'm doing. Okay, so the main reason you're wanting to clean this product up is to dab it and to make rosin, is what I'm understanding. So the problem with the plant material and not being able to dab hash is that the plant material burns before the oil, and then you get that dirty, nasty, really dark banger in there that will have hash in it. And that's why you press it into rosin or clean it up with bubble or water extraction to make this cleaner hash so you can have these beautiful clean dabs. And that's the point of what we're all talking about, if those people are new to this in chat. So with it being dry sift, so depending on how fresh it is, if it's dry, it'll also take on maybe a little bit more of a shattery texture. Sometimes it doesn't come out that nice consistency like jam or like that butter that can come out. So it also depends on what kind of consistency you're looking for as well. But if you want to if it's something quick and you think that like it's not really worth running bubble, because bubble is a lot of work. Bubble is not easy. Water extraction is not easy. It's quite a process. You got drying time and all that with that. So I would say, if you have enough to do to do dry sift, I should say you should try the dry sift since it's already dried out, and maybe you like it. Why not try it? But I would use 2 bags. And I would use probably either a 35 or a 25. And then I would use a bigger bag on the outside of that to keep that small bag from exploding. Because when you press hash, you don't want that bag to explode because it makes a mess and it's waste. It wastes all kinds of stuff. Drake, anything to add?
Oh yeah, you nailed it. Double bag up. So pretty much all you need is just some bags, and if you got a press or something you can use, it'd be a good example. With keef and stuff, you don't necessarily need as much pressure as you will with flowers. So if you're really just getting by with what's around, like that's like a good thing where you could take a small little bit of it and do that with like a straightener by stepping on it. You know, the old school. Getting just the bags would be useful. So then you're able to actually see what comes out with the separation. I'm imagining though maybe a Princess Auto Canadian Tire kind of do-it-yourself press is available, and there's quite a few relatively affordable options out there now within, you know, $100 to a few $100s, which is still a decent investment. But for lots of these products, it's pretty solid to have, especially if you really like the solventless game. And then you'll be able to get the difference, because if you're already doing like a whatever your style of heating is, be it something old school like the warm bottle or just moving upwards in styles, but getting yourself kind of a crude hash rosin, like crude rosin-ish already, now you just be separating out a little bit more of that plant material with the micron mesh and getting more of just the resins and kind of seeing that differentiation for yourself.
So it's funny. So both of these guys are actually, is it Eris? Is that what they're both pressing? Is that how you say that? Arise?
Arise.
Arise. Okay, Arise. So both of them are actually, both of them are actually talking about Arise, and both of them are talking about pressing it out. So Lobster also had a question. He said his Arise came out really sappy, and was wondering how to fix that. So I have found that if it has CBD in it, it definitely comes out sappy. Like I've never not had a CBD cultivar not come out sappy. And so, but it also could come out sappy if like you hadn't cured it long enough. So it could be more liquidy. If you put it in the banger and it sizzles it all, that means you have too much humidity in it. It could be that, but if you want to fix that and you don't like the sappiness, the problem is you can leave it out on the counter and it will dry it out some, but you'll also have some of those beautiful terps off gas and they'll escape. So sometimes you actually can't fix a plant from how it presses. That's the way it presses because of the cultivar, because of the terpenes in it and what it's made out of, the flavonoids and everything else we really don't know enough about. Drake, go ahead.
Everything's citrusy in my experience. Lots of the heavy citruses, even sometimes with the pine, with the things that you would come off like that we know in the other wood practices are really caustic when they're isolated. So I find with those ones, like even the orange gasm, again a Rasta Jeff cultivar, doesn't matter what you do. You could pretty well do it any temperature, any pressure, and you're gonna come out with different products, but at no point did I really get an extremely stable. It's going to depend, of course, how you grow these plants, how long you take them, how you cure. It's going to be a factor as well if you cured it, like Tara mentioned. But lots of times it's just cultivar dependent. So like with that one, I wasn't really able to do too much to make it any consistency that I was looking to deal with. So like a cultivar like that, I would see, okay, you're probably going to have to do bubble and then make hash rosin, and then you're really going to get something lovely, just like Tara's showing us there. And
so this is cured hash rosin. This bubble hash, I did not do this. This was from Constellations. This one is gelato. I saw Dan mention gelato in chat, and I'm like, hey, I got some gelato. Let's go in on that. I'm going to have another dab with y'all this morning. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. I really appreciate all the support. We love hanging out with our chat this morning. And we had a guest plan this morning, but something came up. So we were unable to get them on. So hopefully we can get them back on another time. So we didn't want to let you down. We wanted to make sure that we kept our Saturday mornings, because we're really planning on keeping this Saturday morning chat available to you all, so you can come hang out and hang out as a little family, a little community, and dab some up with you.
Yeah, I'm going to dab one up right now. We're going to jump in on the Tropicana cookies. And speaking of caustic terpenes, this one is very caustic. It's a hash rosin, but the grower and the producer did their job very correctly. So it is loud, and it is going to be hard to see on the bottom of this, but it's super terpy. And with these, it's probably the Oni F2, just because we're familiar with that plant this day and age. And it's most likely that same cut. And if you're used to that profile, this citrus, this lemony, this slap you in the face with a little bit of like the citrus under the sink cleaner. When you hit it, it's harsh. Like it hits on the throat in almost like an overly harsh way. So it's like I got to be careful with it and do a little bit smaller dabs. And this is one where I'm interested to actually have one going to see how it presses, because all the different plants are going to work differently. And there's going to be certain ones that are super citrusy that I'm sure are going to press awesome and butter out and have, I mean, again, this is different consistencies. Some people are going to want to see that really terpy stuff because they know they're going to be able to work with it in their practice. Other people like to see the butter right off the bat because that's just the consistency. You know, it's easy to work with. We see it lots. It's kind of, you know, you see like the concentrate looking like that, and then you got like the little dab marks in it all over, and the little pools are filling up with the terpenes. Like that's pretty hot right now. Everyone's liking their product looking like that. So it's a lot of personal perspective and what you like as an individual, but try and keep the terps in it. My biggest thing, if we can have a nice grown product, solid dry, solid cure, and then it's processed in a proper way to hold all these terpenes, that makes me happy. It doesn't really matter too much on the other side of things.
Well, cheers, everybody. I'm going in on some gelato this morning.
Yeah, this will be good. I'm going to hack, though. I know it. My lungs aren't ready. Hope you all have a fantastic dab. Or joint. Or bong rip.
If you got them, light them up. Oh, yeah, this one's going to treat me right. It's good. Ooh. Buds and Hazard says he's listening in Trim Gel. Well, thanks for tuning in from Trim Gel this morning, Buds. He's got Stony Baker's White Widow and Goji. Nice. And Strawberry Glue. Nice. Those sound amazing. Woo. Oh, that was a beautiful dab. I needed that one this morning. Right, lid back on. Save them terps. Save the terps. I got that hat for Drake. Lungs ain't ever ready for the power. Exactly. How are you doing this morning? Nice to see you here. What's up, everybody? Oh, wow. That was a good dab.
Yeah, that was a good dab.
I'm trying not to cough your ears out.
What's nice I find about it is even if you go too hot, or even if you're just, your lungs are dying like me right now and you're just hacking, you get the flavor every single cough. Like it's just, you know, usually it's, in my opinion, more of like a undesirable profile if you go too big or too hot or so on and so forth. Whereas with this, it's nice. Like you're coughing and you're like, oh, it hurts so bad, but it tastes so good. So I really enjoy that, and I haven't experienced it with too many because it
hurts so
such a loud profile. Yeah, it hurts so good.
It's so good.
Like a tissue massage.
Welcome, Salty. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing awesome. By the way, I think I'm going to throw up the link out here in a little bit. We're going to jump off here in a little bit. Drake's going to do a little bit of talking about what we're doing in the garden. Maybe I'll pull a plant in. I don't know. We'll see. If anybody wants me to pull a plant in here, I will. Let me know. And Drake's going to do a little bit of update about what he's got going on in the garden. And then I think I'm going to throw the live link out. If anybody would like to hang out with us after the chat for a few minutes, we're going to just have a little chit chat. If anybody would like to jump on Zoom. So you have to have Zoom downloaded. And then I will put the link in chat and you can jump on after we go off air and come take a dab. So Drake, what do you have going on in the garden?
What do I got going on? What have we been doing? Well, if I can, this is gonna go off the rails real quick. But if I can stay in chronological order of kind of what we've been up to, I think it started with doing some inoculating some bran. We did some inoculation with the JMS, with the Jam microbial solution. So we made up some JMS. We got our leaf mold collections like we've talked about prior, and we've been, you know, researching and learning and getting taught all this amazing stuff about how to do this and responsible, sustainable ways. So we did that. I got this brewed up, got some bran, wheat bran, I believe. And this is kind of like a bokashi type mix, an inoculated bokashi. Excuse me. This, like I said, this dab's going to be on, at my lungs for the next 10 minutes here. So I'll do my best. But it's like an inoculated bokashi. So you dump the specific amount onto a specific amount in a specific container that's sized specifically, because everything is very specific if you don't catch from the gist of it. So you have to be anal with everything. You don't have to, but it's a solid way to do it to make things repeatable and easy to go back and see what you did. So anyways, got on that. It's about a 2-week process to go through. We're at the rear end of that, and it seemingly has gone well, but we haven't experimented with it yet, so we're not sure. So that'll be coming down the line. Made some JWA, Jadam Wetting Agent. I have some right here in this repurposed kombucha bottle, and it is your surfactant, your soap, and it should be rather clear, see through it nicely. And by rather, I mean like transparent. This is like I said, as I said, your wetting agent, and we make this pretty simply as well. And I made a ton. Like I think I've got 4.5-5 gallons of this stuff, and to do a liter spray, we're using like 10 mils as a rather heavy application when we're adding that in with our other additives. So it's going to go a long way. So I'm going to be sharing that with my friends, and it's a great product. You can use it, of course, for your own skin, as you know. Like I know what compounds went into it. I sourced the highest quality of stuff. If just because there's all these different complicated, well, not all these different complicated ingredients, but there's different ingredients that all have their own specific names throughout the different things we're making, and I don't want to confuse myself and everyone else by trying to repeat them. So with them, certain ones you want to get at 99.9%. You don't want it at 99.5%. That's a big difference in product, essentially. What would seem like a very little thing to us, what do you mean it's 99%? It's actually a big difference. And you don't want mostly refined stuff, you want fully refined, or 99.9% refined, so on and so forth. So you get my gist with that. So been making these products. It also works great for our own skin, which is what I was getting to with that. So I've been using it a little bit as just like a body wash, and then we can set it up for our dishes, and you can change a compound, make a hard soap, and all sorts of fun. So we've been going down that path, learning lots, obviously, and getting excited. One of the other things I've just recently made is the JS, the Jadam Sulfur. Really excited about this one. It took a while to get going, and was hard to lock down products of the utmost quality, since lots of ag products are just not quite there because they don't need to be. And went through the process and whipped that up. And there's essentially a couple ways you can do it. You can do the base way, or you can add a couple things without getting too deep into it. It's like there's some rock dust and some natural clay, like just a couple little inputs that you can add, and we'll get more into that and the specifics on maybe these specific episodes, or as Tara mentioned prior in this Discord, we'll have specific channels that just address these specific things. So it got on that as well. Now I mentioned prior, I've got this drying room that I'm up in, because we've got the flower room that's coming down in the next 7 to 12 days or so. So revamping that, making sure it's good to go. Probably won't be able to get lower than 62 Fahrenheit, but we'll work with that. And then we're going to play around with the humidity a little bit and change things up, try a little bit of a new technique, but it's still similar to everything else. And in the garden, it's insane. In the veg room, we just got lots going. I'm ACMPR here, so I got a pretty solid plant count, and then my good buddy does as well. And we're working out at his farm, and we got all sorts of stuff vegging to go out there, and all sorts of prep we're doing for the soil. We're going to be starting April 11th to do all of our soil foundational work, which is just specific applications that, again, once we're closer to the date, or maybe add it, we can go over a bit more specifically, so I don't ramble too much here. But got a whole ton of stuff. Making fertilizers. I've pretty well forgot 14 or 18 different 5-gallon bucket full of our own fertilizers we've made, and that could be things like just going and getting weeds. If you have an area where there's weeds that people want to get rid of that haven't been sprayed, I've got a big beautiful field here where I'm able to harvest whatever I need, and it's also going to be developed in the next couple of years. So it's not like it's needs to be protected. Like, this area is definitely forageable for my purposes. So anyways, I can go there, and all these little weeds and like thistles, like the Canadian thistle and so on and so forth, able to pluck those, fill up a 5-gallon bucket full of them, add soft water, and then there's a specific amount of your sea salt, your leaf mold soil, and a little bit of rock dust as well. Again, we'll get into this and we'll do the specifics so that everyone can join along and make their own. And then you essentially just seal her up. You want to seal it up because it's with anything that's fermenting anaerobically, it's going to be smelly.
but you just seal it up, and for, generally 3 months, sometimes 6 months, occasionally with certain inputs, 1 month, very certain ones, you let it sit, break down, and then you're able to now have your own fertilizer that's specific to a certain purpose. Whereas the one I just mentioned with the weeds and everything green, that's especially if you're sourcing that like this time of the year where everything's just starting to grow and get moving and is really healthy. And it's obviously, for weeds, they're indigenous to your area, they're thriving. If anything, it's impossible to get rid of them. Well, those are perfect. We want those ones. You can collect the roots if you're really hurting for material, but ideally the top part of the plant, all the green matter, get that in there. And then like for the weed one, that's a great nitrogen kind of supplement to my understanding. And again, we have others that are viewing this that help us along, and if I misspeak, I'll do my best to come back and re-amend anything I say. But to my knowledge, that one's like a solid base start for the beginning of the year. It's got all the nice green growth, it's vigorous, and they actually break down pretty quick with the weeds. So that one's, I generally believe less than a couple month breakdown period, keeping in mind that generally the more time kind of allows more fermentation, and you can essentially get a little bit better of a product by waiting longer. I believe there's going to be somewhat of a point where it gets to maximum potency, but there's not really a storage date for it, to my understanding either. So once you make these, you can kind of set them in a back area, stack them, forget about them, use them as you need, and you're good to go. So I'm sure I could ramble on quite a bit more, but I think it's Tara's turn and my turn for a dab. My throat's finally just saying, maybe you could have one more.
Oh, sorry, Drake. Awesome job explaining all that. I wanted to get this out here, so
I could always keep going. I hate rambling.
Let me try and not spill this and break another lid like I did last time. So perfect. In here, this is what we have. Drake, go ahead and explain that if you want to. What we got.
Don't mind while you're getting it set up and started. This is exactly what we were talking about. So I believe, is this a cannabis leaf specific JLF, Jadam, yes, liquid fertilizer, to break down all these crazy acronyms and different sayings we have. So here we've got a Congo leaf specific cannabis fertilizer. You've added your as we mentioned before, just the leaf in there and been letting it soak. And you're going to be able to actually reapply that to the Congo.
Yeah,
so that's super cool.
Excited.
So that's actually, now that's using leaf and material that's happy with good green in it from the exact plant that you're going to be giving it back to. So I'm pretty sure that that's going to be some very happy, or going to be a very happy plant, because that fertilizer essentially is going to be tailored from the plant for the plant.
I will tell you, doesn't smell pretty. It's stinky, but I don't actually smell this in my room when I'm here because of this lid on here. Now I keep foil around it wrapped on it. Drop my other one on the floor here. Because you don't want the light in there and expose those microbes. You want them in the dark. That's one thing that's super important when you're doing a lot of this JMS stuff and Jadam stuff. All of their containers that they ferment and stuff in are dark. If you've noticed that in the books, if you've followed along with any of that. So that's why I put the foil on here. And then I keep it in where my grow is. That's also another thing. You want to keep it similar to the same temperatures that you're going to be using this stuff in. And another thing we're going to be doing, we're going to be starting, anybody out there, if you're a new grower, we're going to be starting a grow meet once a week. If anybody would like to take along a journey and you're a new grower and you want to follow along, do some garden updates as a team. I think we're going to have maybe a group of 5 or 6 people. If you'd like to join that team, we already have a couple that are already on the team. So if you want to join our little grow group, we're trying to decide if we're going to meet in the mornings and the afternoons right now. So right now would be a great time if you're interested. DM Drake or I on Instagram, or reach Drake on Facebook. Drake, what's your Facebook?
So I am Drake Kostick on Facebook, TOSSK. I'm pretty active over there, relatively active on Instagram. Do my best to keep up with it, but really active in the garden. So that's generally where you'll have to come to find me and get a hold of me, unfortunately. So I will, it's as the season gets further on and we keep learning and taking on more and expanding and working on these practices, the the time to hang around and chill is dwindling, unfortunately, because I do really enjoy being able to chat and meet everyone. And this is just that's how I thrive. It's how I learn as well, right? Like, and that's why I just like to be able to do the same thing now and give back, because I'm able to sit there and watch all these different amazing people and learn this awesome stuff and hear from these others, sometimes even in private. So it's great to be able to now reciprocate that information, make sure everyone has repeat that information. That's one of the dyslexic with some really odd words, the nostalgic, lethargic, reciprocate, and repeat. And like, what the hell? That's a tough one to get across, but I'm figuring it out. So repeat that to all you guys and girls out there so that you can have the same access, or at least the option to have it. I did see a question from Dan asking about adding the used soil, and then he re-amended and said cocoa and peat to bokashi. I'm just perceiving that as adding bokashi to the like, you wouldn't necessarily add the used stuff to your bokashi that you have, because the bokashi that you have takes like a certain process. You make it, now you've got it, and it's kind of like stored, and you would use that as like a top dress, as a soil amendment in that sense. So it's not like you would add that used substrate that you have to expand your bokashi. So it's more like you would use that maybe for a compost pile or something. And even then, like, being less familiar with the kind of hydroton cocoa, so on and so forth, I'm still not certain yet personally the best ways to go about reusing and or being able to work those into something so that you're not throwing it out each time. But I'm sure that's something we can figure out more on the back end, and then be able to bring back up and hopefully make it so that everyone, no matter what your technique is able to be as let's call it regenerative as possible. Reuse as much as you can, even if you're working in a completely different way. Because why not? Right? We all want to save money no matter what we're doing. So
Beautiful. I love it. Very well said. Well, y'all, I've had a fabulous morning hanging out with y'all, and I'd love to hang out with more of you after we go off air. If you'd like to come hang out with us, I'll throw the Zoom link in chat, and you're welcome to join. I take a few more dabs. Should we dab one out? Does everybody want to dab one out together? Let's do one more. I'm ready for one more. How about you, Drake? You going one more?
Oh, I'm ready.
Did I twist your arm?
My lungs are still, yeah, you're twisting my lungs is what they're doing. But they're like, okay.
Hey, Octo, Bingo. What's up, guys? Thanks for handling that for me today in chat. I love my moderators. You're awesome. Thanks for tuning in here and being here, y'all. Really appreciate everybody and all your support, all the love we felt the last few weeks. We've been so busy.
Switched up. Different little rig. Like this little rig.
Isn't that a cute little rig? You know, I've really downsized on my rig as well, if y'all haven't noticed. And I really, really like this round bottom banger a lot.
Round bottom banger. Can make a song about it.
Ron, yeah, there should be. Kind of like I like big butts. Somebody should mix a song about that.
Round bottom girl.
I like my round bottom bangers.
All right, comatose it is.
Oh, what do I want?
Bang.
I think I'm gonna go with some fortune cookie today. Here's some fortune cookie. That's what that looks like. And that is from.
What am I doing later?
Constellations, I think. Dab time. I am transplanting clones later. I have lots of Congo clones that I'm going to be transplanting and giving away. If you live in Washington, contact me.
But
I got Congo clones free.
But you might have to
Cheers,
show up on your own
everyone.
accord and do all the legwork, and they make it like that's on you. Another thing with the fleeting time, it's doing our best to not bite off more we can chew and keep up with everything. So we shall try.
Woo. Woo. Awesome, Dan. I'm glad we could answer those questions for you. That's awesome. Always happy to. You know, that's what we're here for. That's the reason I do YouTube. It's not here to get famous, and it's not here to make money. It's literally here to share information freely, because this is how I got all the information that I learned. I learned from lots of people that have been here on YouTube, and I really respect everybody out there. I really appreciate and love all of you that hang out with us. It does mean a lot. It's a lot to us. A lot of us are medical recovery people. We're working on not only growing plants, but learning how to become healthy and live in this crazy world again. And I think this plant is definitely going to help the future. I think it can help a lot of us. It's helped me a lot, and I want to share it with everybody. So this is what I'm here for. I love each and every one of you. Thank you again for being here with us today. Again, Tara Lee Live. And also tag me on Instagram if you think I should be following you. DM me. I also have a email account, It's TaraLeeLive@gmail if you want to contact me on that as well. And we're going to be having a Discord channel as well that's coming out. We're going to be launching that, I think, on 420, because 420 is coming up this month, y'all. So on 420, we're going to be launching that Discord softly. Not all the information will be in there, but there will be a lot of them, and I'm super excited. So super happy to have you here.
Another awesome work in progress that I'm just so excited to see coming along, and we'll do what we can do, and it'll come when it can come. But that's our goal, and I'm super excited. It's going to be very laid out and just a nice another place, another good resource, and that's what we need more of. So
exactly. And one more thing with the round bottom banger, I see Dab's looking at one. It's important, this carb cap that comes with it. It's very functional. It's directional. And it has a little hole right there, a little carb hole. I hardly ever use the carb hole. And
this is not a break the bank banger. I had the exact same setup. You can get them through the
Amazon.
I think Tara got hers through Amazon. Right?
It's like $15 or something. Like it wasn't very much.
A minor Amazon premium, but that's showing up to your door in 2 days instead of waiting for weeks. But yeah, they are very affordable. Like she's like, what, $15 for a banger and a cap? That's decent. And they're I got one that was only like a 2 mil thick sidewall, which is where maybe it was even 1 mil, like it was very thin. So just be careful when you're looking through the stuff and look for the thickest ones. Just because for these cheap generic bangers, those are the ones that are going to have the most likelihood of holding the proper temperature and staying warm longer, in my experience. So you're not getting like the too hot and too cold dabs all in one. Because
exactly.
I mean, those are good for their when in their place. Usually one at the end of a day or something, but other than that, you want a nice consistent dab.
Yeah. Good tips of the day. Thanks, Drake. Thanks everybody for being here. Peace and love and healthiness vibes to you all. And we'll see you on Zoom if you want to hang out. See you in a bit.